Welcome to this week's edition of Falcon Focus. It's episode number 26, our 14th episode here in semester number 2. My name is Matt Menzel, and segment number 2 will be joined by the football quarterback as the football season came to a close this past Saturday, that being James Lynn. But first, we talk ACHA hockey. Their season also coming to a close this past weekend after a heck of a winter, which included an ACHA Division II National Tournament appearance this past weekend in North Dakota. And kind enough to join us is sophomore forward Trenton Sherman. And Trenton, I want to begin. Last week, the big news that came out about you at least is the fact you were named a first-team All-American, the first time an ACHA player in Falcon history receiving All-American status. So upon receiving that accolade, I guess, what did that mean to you?
It was a huge honor to me. For me, I really have to thank my teammates, my coaches, Dr. Barnhill. Coach put me with two guys this year on our line, and, it was awesome to play with them. Connor Doyle, Easton Williams. They made it super easy for me to play and kind of enjoy my time. So really have to thank them a lot.
So accolades aside, you look back at this past winter and 23 goals, 14 assists, 5 power play goals, a shorthanded goal, another 3 game-winning goals as you did your freshman season. Were you pleased with the progress you made from your freshman to sophomore season?
Yeah, I was really pleased. Richards really has some high expectations, not only for me, but every guy on the team. And, just being at practice, having really good teammates to push me super hard to achieve the things that I want to achieve personally and, do that so I can help the team as much as I can. So that way we can do what we did this year.
I want to go back to the regular season finale back on March the 27th, and there being a Falcon victory and knocking off Purdue Northwest. But you erupted for 5 goals, also added 1 assist. You had a hat trick in the first period alone. I guess, A, have you ever had a performance, going back throughout your hockey time, a performance like that before? And B, I guess, what was the key to that success?
Yeah, so when I was little, I did that a couple times, but I never had done that in a big moment like that, and that was super cool for me. And it's one of those times where like you just get going and you're not thinking about much. And when I remember back to that game, we had a lot of kids that day that really stepped up, and I just happened to be in the right area, and my teammates made great passes and little tap in goals that for me that it just made it super easy. So I just like to thank my teammates on that one. So.
And we'll talk more about, the path to the ACHA National Tournament as well as we go along, but that was an important game, too, because you couldn't afford to lose to Purdue Northwest if you had hopes of getting to the National Tournament. And, again, the Falcons able to take care of business. Now, outside of that March 27th performance, and there have been a lot of, memorable games. We'll talk about some of those as we go along, too, but is there another goal, another win that maybe stands out among the rest from this past season?
Yeah, I would say the biggest one that stands out is the Iowa State game that we won. We were 2-0 down in the first period, and then, coach came in and he's like, "Hey guys, we're playing great. Just keep going." And we scored in the second period, and then in the third period we went out and we got a couple power play goals, and then, with like a minute left, we had John Switek bury one, and we ended up winning the game against the 4th-ranked team in the country, which was just amazing. I was super happy that night.
Yeah, that game you referenced back on March the 4th, and Swiatek with that game-winning goal, 22.3 seconds left after Iowa State had just tied the game about a minute or so before that. Ended up being a nice 4-3 Falcon victory. But overall, the team finished with 12 victories and 14 defeats, and I don't think that record's indicative of just how competitive this team was and how well you guys played pretty much throughout the season. But, okay, as mentioned, when you look at some of the accolades the team had, finishing number 14 of the ACHA Division II national rankings, as mentioned, qualified for the first time for the ACHA Division II national tournament. Also notched a number of quality wins along the way. I guess when you reflect back, how would you go about summarizing or recapping this past season?
Honestly, I don't even know, because when we started the season, honestly, I was didn't know if we were going to play, how much we were going to get to play, and I actually we started the season with a couple of COVID incidents, and some of us didn't get to play, and I personally was quarantined a couple times, and it was super hard. And uh, when I think back of getting to this past week in the national tournament and think back about, all the stuff we had to go through, each practice, waking up at 6 a.m., being on the ice, getting ready, and, what we accomplished this year was amazing, and just to do it was really hard. And I think each guy on the team, we all had to help each other, and it was just an amazing, amazing year that I'll never forget.
Well, you bring up a good point because I think that kind of gets forgotten is, okay, you hear about, players, okay, yeah, pause, stop, go, whatever the case may be throughout the course of the season, but just the emotional toll it takes. And I know for ACHA hockey, you guys got the opportunity to at least start the season back on Halloween, but then all of a sudden, oh, pump the brakes and nothing again until essentially January. What was the emotional toll, I guess, for you? I mean, you talked about not knowing if we're going to play or not. I mean, when did it start to kind of kick in that, you know what, it's going to be okay. We're going to at least get the opportunity to try again?
Yeah, we got that long break and we came back after Christmas, and that's when we started really kind of getting into the season. For me, it was just my parents and stuff being like, "Hey man, keep your head up, like, you know, just keep going, like things are going to happen." And I tried to carry that over to my teammates when they kind of felt the same way. It was just one of those things we all kind of had to bond, and I think that's what really made our team great this year is with all of this stuff that happened, we all had to come closer together to get through it together.
What was a typical week like for this team in that, okay, you had testing.
Hmm.
I mean, on top of practice and games themselves, you also had to, have some self control in the sense that, okay, you have to be socially distanced, obviously wearing the mask, but you also almost have to, quarantine yourself from the outside. So you guys stay within that bubble with your program. But I mean, kind of, if you want the season to happen, do you not have to kind of quarantine yourself from people outside the program?
Yeah, we do our best with that because classes are half and half for the most
Sure.
part, and uh, you know you do a lot of us have friends that aren't on the hockey team, and you want to hang out with them as much as you can, but you got to make sure you're thinking about the team first, and making sure that we're playing, and that was super difficult at sometimes, but we did a really good job, and I think the school as a whole did a really good job kind of giving us guidelines to help us play as much as possible.
Did you ever get nervous during the week of when the testing's going on to make sure, hey, they all come back negative versus positive? Or was it one of those, like, were they tense moments where you have to wait every couple of days or whatever to find out the status of a game?
Yeah, I think initially for the first little bit when we were testing and everything, and you hear about the stories of other teams dropping, you were kind of nervous, but towards the end of the year, we all got a little bit more confident with the fact of, hey, we've all done the right things. We are gonna play, and if it didn't happen, don't get down about that. It just kind of is what it is, and I think we did a really great job of that.
Well, you bring up a good point earlier when you said, hey, you just got to, keep your head up and just, stay focused because, like you said, you can only control what you can control. And in some cases, there were scheduling changes throughout the course of the season, not just because of the Falcons, but because of other teams and some of the stuff they were dealing with. And one of the games I wanted to bring up, too, outside of the Iowa State upset that you were talking about was March 17th. And that was a upset of then number 15, Aurora. And that was a game that was actually moved date-wise because of COVID-19 protocol. But that was a 6-5 overtime win, and you had a couple of goals, including the goal that helped force overtime. You had a couple of assists as well, and then Wyatt Wilderman came through with the overtime goal. And we'll talk about Aurora as well from this past weekend in the national tournament. But what do you remember about that meeting back on March 17th? Another overtime thriller against the Spartans.
Yeah, I remember. I don't think it was like our line's first shift, but our line started the game, and we really kind of it was one of those games you really knew our line was really going, the whole team was going, and early in the game I happened to come down and you know put one in and everything, and it was just a great pass by Easton on that one. And then later in that game, we're kind of going back and forth. It was a dogfight, and At the end, seeing Wyatt Wilderman putting one in from the blue line top shelf was really cool, and that'll be something I remember my entire life. So.
I'm telling you, it was. If you missed it at the Ozaki Ice Center, you missed some fun this past winter. There were some competitive games, some exciting moments, and I think all the archive broadcasts can still be found through the Falcon Athletic Network. But this past Thursday through Saturday, let's relive the 3 games that were in the ACHA Division II National Tournament that was in North Dakota. I guess let's start with just how great that experience was for you and for this team.
Yeah, I mean, ever since Coach Richards brought me in, the talk is we need to get a national title. And, he brought me into the gym here, and we actually have posters back there. And he said, notice how there's no ACHA national appearances or titles. And I remember I told him, I looked at him, I said, yeah, we're going to fix that. And, that's kind of been our team's entire goal, is to get to the national tournament, do well, and, hopefully one day win one. And it was just to be there was kind of like validation for our entire team, that even though we're kind of a newer ACHA team, we haven't been in the ACHA for many years, we are a great team in the ACHA, and just to be there was an experience I'll never forget.
Let's recap the action. I want to get your opinion, okay? Going back to Thursday, end up losing against number 4 Liberty by a 2-0 score. Both of their goals came in the opening period. I guess, in your opinion, when you look at that game, in your opinion, what was the difference?
The difference is we just got a couple unlucky bounces. We hit a couple posts. I thought Dakota Delbridge played amazing that game, made a lot of key saves, gave us an opportunity to win that night. And, like I said, sometimes it just doesn't bounce your way. I thought as a team we really played great, and we gave our team a chance to beat them. We just didn't get the puck luck that night, and that's going to happen. But we'll be at the national tournament again, and hopefully change that.
Friday was a loss against Florida Gulf Coast, number 5 Florida Gulf Coast by a 7-2 score. Was that again a story just getting off to a slower start against a quality team?
Yeah, I know Coach was talking to them. They played amazing. They were really fast. They made a lot of great plays. We didn't get off to the best start that night. I thought Mac Willie played really good. He gave us the best chance to win. We struggled a little bit. When you get off to a slow start and you kind of get in the hole a little bit early, it's tough to come out from that. But I thought, what I really liked is our team never gave up the entire game, no matter how far we got down that night. And, we just kept going. And, that's really cool because they were a really good team.
Mm-hmm.
And, being able to just be there and compete with a team like that is amazing. And, I think in the future we'll be able to beat teams like that.
Before we talk about the end result on Saturday, just what's the mindset? Is there a confidence going into that game knowing, hey, you have a familiar opponent across the way? You have Aurora, a team you guys have had their number lately. I'm guessing there was confidence going in knowing that that your opponent?
Yeah, when we showed up to the rink, we had a lot of swagger because we know we can beat that team, and, we know who we're playing, what they do. So I think it was a little bit more comfortable for us because we know what's going to happen and what's going to go on, and we know what to expect. So we walked in with some swagger, and, we really did a good job that night.
Yeah, what was the difference in that game? Cody Faber had the game-winning goal in overtime, was a 5-4 result, but as you mentioned, another classic between the Falcons and Spartans.
Yeah, no, we went in, we worked really hard. When we had a chance, we buried, and going into that game late, we were up 3-1, and they came back and actually made it 4-3 them, and then probably with about 2 minutes left, Connor Doyle buried a tie to get us into OT, and that was huge for us. Dakota Delbridge played really good that night, and going into overtime, I was really hoping that Cody would bury and get an OT winner for his going out of his senior, and him reaching 101 points in his career is amazing, and I couldn't be prouder of him.
I know you've touched on it a little bit, but what's it been like to play alongside guys like, Cody Faber? You mentioned Doyle, Easton Williams, you've mentioned a couple of times, John Swiatek, Wyatt Wilderman. The list goes on and on, but so many talented guys on this team.
Yeah, and going back to what we started with, I don't think I could have done what did this year without those guys. Going to practice and competing against those guys who are really good. It's gonna make you better, and I think not only on the ice are they good, but off the ice, everyone on our team's so much fun to hang around with, and it's a blast, and you can really thrive in that environment. We have more than just those guys who are
Mm-hmm.
amazing players, and I think it's really cool that I have an opportunity to play with those guys in the games and compete against them at practice. And I don't see a way you can't get better with that.
Let me wrap it up by asking you about, okay, it's the offseason now as far as HCHA hockey goes. So what's your mindset, I guess, going into this offseason? How do you go about preparing for next season? But you also, what fans may not realize is you're also juggling golf. So you have, okay, hockey's on the shelf for now. You focus on golf, but when do you start getting back in that hockey mindset?
Even though golf season is right now for me here at Concordia, I never stop thinking about hockey because that's my big sport, and my
Sure.
big passion, and you know, uh, a lot of us have some bumps and bruises from the year. So first off, we all got to get healthy, and then going into next year, we all have some lofty goals, and I think it starts in the weight room, getting bigger, stronger, faster every year, and you know, uh, we all can do better and get better this summer. And, it starts right away. It doesn't start, in July when we're starting to get ready for hockey season. So I think you always kind of, maybe take 2 weeks after the season to kind of decompress from the season and get rid of the hockey mindset. But right after that, get back into it as quick as you can because we need to start preparing for next year. That way we can do what we did this year and more. Because next year it's gonna be really tough. Because you gotta go through your conference and then
Mm-hmm.
regionals. So getting to the national tournament's gonna be a grind. And I think we have a lot of potential. We're bringing in some good freshmen, and we can make a run at it again. And I can't wait to do that.
Well, Trenton, we can't wait to watch. Congratulations on all the success here this past season. Enjoy your off season, and thanks a lot for your time.
Thank you.
That's Trenton Sherman of ACHA Hockey. When we come back, we'll put a spin and wrap on the football season with their quarterback, James Lynn, here on Falcon Focus.
Being a part of the different activities and organizations that I've been a part of, I'm actually able to see myself where I'm like, hey, I actually can make a change. I'm one person that can make a difference.
Division 3 has helped me to develop teamwork skills, critical thinking skills, time management skills.
It's not just about basketball or it's not just about school, it's about developing yourself as a person altogether.
Welcome back to this week's edition of Falcon Focus. We turn our attention to football. They just wrapped up their 2021 spring season this past Saturday with a victory against the Eureka College Red Devils, being joined by their quarterback, junior James Lynn. And bravo to the Falcons, but also Eureka as well because, when the season began, the goal was to get through 5 games. All 8 teams of the conference, that was the goal. Well, Concordia and Eureka, the only 2 teams that got to the finish line playing 5 games. May have been a roundabout way, but they got there to the finish line this past Saturday. And James, let's start by just talking about this spring 2021 season and just how unique was it for you with, the testing, with, trying to find ways to stay healthy, the injuries? Just how unique of a spring was it?
Yeah, this spring was definitely different compared to past years. Just playing in the spring for one is just way different. When we come into August, it's always so hot, and then gradually we get into the cold. But we just started everything was just all up in the rain, all cold. Guys are getting hurt pretty quick. We were down some guys on defense.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of guys had to step up, getting tested all the time. It was really different, but we adjusted, and as players, we all were able to do the best that we could.
How did your preparation maybe change from years past? Because, okay, you came into the fall, and there really wasn't, a route as to when the season may or may not actually start game-wise. So what did you do to maybe just stay in that mindset of, hey, you know what, I got to be game ready whenever that season does finally start?
Well, right when we came back for campus for second semester, all of us, me and a couple of wide receivers, running backs, we were always in here throwing out on the field when it wasn't, full of snow and stuff like that. Just putting in the extra work just like normal in the weight room all the time. Coach Seekman got us on a good weightlifting plan, so we were all pretty prepared regardless of the circumstances.
We speak about preparation. I think one of the things that you really can't prepare for is when there's a coaching change and a new offensive coordinator coming in Curran White. Did that take some getting used to, just getting used to what he wants to do offensively based on what you were used to?
Yeah, right off the bat, it was a little bit different. Different's not bad at all, but it was a little different. Just as an offense, we all had to come together and really figure out what his offense entitled and what he wanted from us, and he had to adjust to us and know where our strengths and weaknesses were too. So in the end, we all know what we want out of the offense now. After these 5 games, we all know what is going to come for next season. So
When there's a change like that, do you have to get used to a whole new playbook? Is it, the same playbook, maybe with some tweaks? And like you said, okay, now you're 5 games, through this spring 2021 season. Are you kind of touched on this, but are you now in a comfortable spot with what he wants to do and what his plays are, or is it still a work in progress?
No, we at the start when he first came in, we all did have to learn a whole new playbook. So that did take some time. Especially just everybody, everybody's at different paces
Sure.
As far as learning it. But after the first couple weeks, we all came together and started realizing what it is we have to do. And now it's just I think it's just we just got to put our minds to it, and we all know what plays we're running. We all know how to execute the plays. We all know everybody's assignments. So now it's just going back out there next fall and executing it.
You mentioned, okay, when the second semester training camp started, you guys were in the gym and, running backs, receivers, you guys were playing catches, getting workouts in. We talk about adjustments too, and it seemed like as the season progressed, for a variety of reasons, injuries being, one of the areas that took a toll on this team, but you worked with a number of guys in game action, a number of running backs. In fact, you handed the ball off to 6 different backs, 12 different receivers with catches throughout the course of the 5-week schedule. Does it take some getting used to, though, to get on the same page and what each guy brings to the table? Because just when you get used to maybe Josh Turner in week 1, all of a sudden he's out for back-to-back games before you get him back. How do you get on the same page and get in sync with all these different receivers and running backs?
Yeah, no, it's definitely getting used to, having different people in the backfield, having different people out on the field as far as wide receiver and stuff. But, that's what we practice. We're in here practicing timing, and, we're out on the field practicing, meshes and stuff like that. And it's just getting a feel for everybody. We've gotten enough time with each other, all the running backs, all the wide receivers, to, have that timing and have that cooperation with each other. And it wasn't that big of a difference. And, like you said, 6 running backs, they all stepped up. When Josh was out, Mike came in, Colin came in, Ashar came in, and they all played really good. So, it just excites me for what's to come.
I was going to say, that's what's exciting is you look at this roster, and some of these guys may still be another year or so away before they really get their time to make a name for themselves, but they started to show glimpses as freshmen and sophomores of what could be as the future goes on for Falcon football. But, talking about progress, how about the offensive line? That had to be comforting to know, okay, the first few weeks, maybe a work in progress, but by the last couple of games, you got more pass protection, more time to do what you wanted to do. I mean, you were sacked something like 13 times or something like that in the first 3 weeks, and maybe only once the final 2 games. Did you like the progress you saw from your offensive line?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Those guys up front, they're at practice. They're probably working harder than anybody else is out there. At the start of the season, going from taking a whole year off and then just coming straight to it, they pushed it back, coming straight into playing. Everybody's gonna make mistakes right off the bat. I made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes, but it was definitely fun for me and exciting to watch them improve and not get hit.
Well, it was exciting to watch the offense. I mean, just click in the last 2 weeks of the season. You had the Ripon victory and the non-conference win a couple of weeks back. That game was added to the schedule with Concordia Chicago. Injuries taking a toll on that program. And then this past week, a victory against Eureka. It was a quick strike, quick moving, big play offense. And how much fun was that just to be a part of, where it just seemed like every possession was like 3 plays. Bing, bang, boom. You guys cover 75-plus yards.
Oh yeah, it was so exciting. This weekend was probably one of the funnest games I've had here in a while. The energy was just high all up on the sidelines, on the field. We were just going crazy. So we were all having a real fun time out there.
You may not know this yet, and by the time this airs, it will be public, but you're named the NAC Offensive Player of this week, and rightfully so, because against Eureka, you went 17 of 28 passing, threw for 386 yards, threw 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. I guess it's overall, your thoughts on your performance from this past week and your team's performance in that win against the Red Devils.
As a team, I think it was a great team win. Offensively, defensively, we're into our, like our threes and stuff like that. And all those guys have been really stepping up these past couple weeks and just coming in, doing their jobs. Offensively, we just got to keep it rolling. Once the fall comes along, if we could just play like that every game, I think we'll be unstoppable.
Well, the team was so jacked up going to that game on Saturday and use that, excitement for good and jumping right on Eureka right from the get-go. A couple of turnovers helping out as well. But overall, the team finishing with 3 victories, a couple of defeats, 3-0 at Tomasini Stadium. I guess how would you summarize the way that this unique season went?
In summary, I would say that, I'm just excited for next season, really. We started off a little slow, but these last couple of games we've been hot, and it's kind of, it's sad to say that it's just over like this after 5 games, especially after Saturday. It was just like, oh man, it's over already. Like we were just getting started, kind of, But yeah, I can't wait.
Now, just getting started, the first win of the season came against Wisconsin Lutheran for a 3rd consecutive year. The Falcons able to take care of the Luther Cup, the Lutheran Bowl against the Warriors. I go back to the game, and I want to kind of test your memory. So back on March 27th, a 39-38 win. You guys eventually score a touchdown in the closing minute and get back to within 1. Coach Greg Etter said, hey, I told him from the get-go, we're going for 2 if we find the end zone. So what's going through your mind? Okay, you guys get back to within 1. You're going for 2. You take that gamble. It pays off. Falcons win. You find Christian Booker wide open to the end zone. Just take us through that whole sequence.
Man, the last touchdown of the game, Christian caught it, and we were all going crazy on the sidelines. We knew we were going to go for the win. All of it, yeah, like you said, we knew we were going for 2. And then coach just called the right play. Luckily, their defense left someone open, and I saw Christian in the back of the end zone, and he did his thing, caught the ball, and won the game for us.
Do you like that gamble? Do you like that when coach said, hey, we're going for 2? Did it kind of get you guys even more fired up, like, hey, we're going to win this thing?
Oh, yeah, of course. We had all the momentum from the second half on.
Mm-hmm.
We were scoring, and, you could just feel the energy on the sidelines. We all know we wanted to win. Especially for the Luther Cup, we know we have to go for the win.
Well, speaking of Wisconsin Lutheran, and I really believe you really made a name for yourself, your freshman year in 2018 against Wisconsin Lutheran. Now, you came in, Aaron Nixon leaving the game with injury. You eventually led the Falcons down the field for the game-winning touchdown drive. In fact, you had the touchdown, a 7-yard run with 3:18 left in that game. It was a 21-14 Falcon W. What are your memories from that game? Getting an opportunity as a freshman, you go out there, you mentioned it's a big rivalry game, and you lead the Falcons to the game-winning score.
At that time, I was just trying to come in and not really mess up. That was that was kind of. I think the week before that against Rockford, I got some playtime at quarterback, but that game, just what's at stake in the WLC game, to come in, I was just trying to put us in the best position possible to win the game, and thankfully we ended up getting that done.
And I'm not saying you had these thoughts in any way, shape, or form, but I know some athletes, maybe they go from being the star quarterback or whatever at their high school team, and they have to wait their turn at the collegiate level, and maybe you go through those emotional up and downs of, can I do this? Do I belong? Is this a good fit for me? Was that for you at least kind of a stamp that, I can do this, and, I can do what they need me to do? Was that a big confidence booster, that performance?
Yeah, definitely. That was the last game, and, it just
Mm-hmm.
gave me a lot more confidence into coming into my sophomore year. I knew what I was capable of. It was just waiting for a time for me to show it.
And you take us through then, okay, then you become a sophomore in 2019. You take over the starting quarterback responsibilities. Just how maybe you prepare differently for that season, and how do you felt that season progressed for you?
That was my first year starting, so in the off season, I really just wanted to try to get bigger, faster, and stronger. Just being out there with bigger guys. That was my main focus. And then as the season went on, I think it was a good start at the end of the season. I was just trying to go out there and just, be there for my team.
Well, and besides your passing ability, and again, you complete, passes at a very high percentage, and that certainly was the case here this spring. You're also among the leaders on this team when it comes to rushing, and I'm always curious from a quarterback standpoint, what goes through your mind? When do you decide, okay, I'm going to take off here, or you know what, there's nothing downfield, so I have to, take off? How do you make that split-second decision?
You just all the coaches always tell me to be decisive. I'll look downfield, and if I see stuff getting jammed up in front of me and stuff like that, it's just quick fly. You got to make your decisions real fast and just stick with them. You don't have time to think or anything like that. It's not so much of just what I do to make the decision. It's kind of just, you just got to do it and just roll with it.
And I'm guessing you have no fear of taking contact, because we've seen a few times
yeah.
where, you'll slide right in as opposed to, you can quickly go off right or left and go out of bounds. You bring on that. You welcome that hit, don't you?
Yeah.
To some degree.
Yeah, some degree. I shouldn't. I really shouldn't be.
Sure.
But yeah, I love to run the ball, and I used to play defense in high school
Okay.
and stuff like that, and I like some contact every now and then.
So currently, to date, obviously, hopefully the best is still to come, but okay, your first couple years as a starter, is there one game, is there one performance that, at least as of right now, stands out among the rest?
This past
Okay.
weekend was just exciting in every way, and I'm always gonna remember that game.
It was, and even weather-wise, it was a gorgeous afternoon after a dreary Saturday the week before against Ripon. So now, okay, from an individual standpoint, forget wins and losses. Did you take the steps that you were hoping to take, okay, from the fall of 2019? You had that long, break between game action. Did you feel like you took the steps you wanted to take from year one to year two as a starter?
Yeah, definitely. Just with the new offensive coordinator too, it took a little bit more getting used to. There was a lot of questioning from the player standpoint, just the way everything was playing out.
Sure.
But we all stuck together, and in the end, it ended up working out. And I think now that we're at the end of the season now, in the 5 games that we played compared to the 10 last year, I think I definitely took a lot of more strides, and I'm just going to continue to work in the off season to get better for the next season.
You mentioned 5 games, and I want to hit that point again because it is, just a credit to the Falcons, to the staff, to everybody surrounding the program that they got to the finish line. Not many teams can make that claim. Not many teams will make that claim here in the spring. But the Falcons and Eureka College, for that matter, each got to play 5 games, and the credit to the players and their commitment here during this unique spring 2021 season. But finally, okay, so the offseason's upon us, and it's going to be a quicker offseason than usual, and hopefully everything gets back to somewhat normal in the fall, and you're playing a regular schedule, non-conference, included a full conference slate. I guess, what are you looking to accomplish here in the offseason? What's your mindset in preparation now for the fall of 2021?
Well, I plan on staying here for the summer for a decent amount of time, just to keep myself in shape and keep training. But just, of course, to get bigger, faster, stronger, always. Coach Sheikman's going to be in the weight room with me, so he'll get me right, of course. But other than that, just continue to work on, footwork, stuff out on the field. It's only going to benefit me, and my teammates can only benefit from it too. So
I do have to leave before we wrap up the show. I do have to ask you about being from Chino Hills, California. I ask all of our guests that are from out of state how you ended up at Concordia. So I guess to wrap it all up, how did you end up making a home here in Mequon?
Wow, that was a long time ago. But I got recruited pretty late in my senior year. It was around February or March. There was a couple junior colleges and other small Division IIIs back at home, but I kind of wanted to branch off in the world and start just fresh start from California. And then I ended up going to this camp in Ontario, California, with a bunch of seniors, just trying to get last-minute looks. And our old offensive coordinator, Coach Henney, was there. And then he met me, and I came out here, took a visit, and the rest was history, I guess.
Well, we're happy to have you here. All the best this offseason. Continued success, and congrats on this past spring and be named the NAC Offensive Player of the Week. And we'll see you again in the fall.
Thank you, thank you.
That's James Lynn. We also thank Trenton Sherman for being our guest in segment number 1. Thanks to Sam Dunn behind the scenes, and thank you for watching. I'm Matt Mendel. Thanks for joining us for Falcon Focus this week on CUWFalcons.com.